of the
Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Newshour, India's voice to the world. I'm Tanvi Taneja, coming up in the next hour. On the third anniversary of the Russia-Ukraine conflict, Zelensky offers to resign as president for the sake of peace, says can exchange this for NATO, adds he doesn't want Donald Trump as mediator. Germans vote for return to stability in snap elections. Olaf Scholz's SPD faces a tough fight from the Conservatives and the far right. Gaza ceasefire once again in doubt as Israel delays release of 602 Palestinian prisoners, accuses Hamas of humiliating ceremonies during hostage handovers. Highlighting measures to combat cancer in this year's budget, Prime Minister Narendra Modi lays the foundation stone of the Bageshwar Dham Medical and Science Research Institute in India's Madhya Pradesh. Germans are voting in a national election on Sunday that is expected to see Friedrich Merz's Conservatives regain power and the far-right Alternative for Germany, AfD, score its best-ever result as Europe's ailing economic powerhouse may turn rightwards. Can the German federal election produce a majority? Well, we are only hours away to find that out. DD India's Mihir Mekhuri reports.
On Sunday, Germans thronged polling stations across the country to cast their votes in a highly anticipated general election. Opinion polls suggest that the results will usher in a new chancellor and a fresh governing coalition. The snap election is widely expected to see Friedrich Merz's Conservatives reclaim power, with the far-right Alternative for Germany, or the AfD, poised to achieve its strongest result yet.
I think so, because Friedrich Merz also knows something about the economy. And I think he needs to rebuild our country a little better. So much has been lost. That's a pity. A lot has been lost. And we have a beautiful country here. And that's where we have our hope.
Aus meiner Sicht ist
From my point of view, it is important that calm returns and that we find a line together with all parties, that Germany regains the status we used to have and security returns.
Now let's take a closer look at the key players in this race, starting with Friedrich Merz. Merz of the Christian Democratic Union, or the CDU, has been the long-time frontrunner. The CDU has adopted a more aggressive stance on immigration. Merz served as a member of the European Parliament from 1989 to 1994. He represented the CDU in the Bundestag until 2009. After two unsuccessful bids, Merz became CDU leader in 2022. Alice Weidel, co-leader of the AfD, is the party's candidate for chancellor and staunchly anti-immigration. The AfD had a strong performance in 2024 regional elections. It became the largest party in Thuringia, a first since the Nazi era. The AfD also finished a close second in another regional vote. Next is Olaf Scholz. The incumbent Chancellor's party, the SPD, could face the toughest electoral battle. Opinion polls indicate a 10-point drop in votes, placing them behind the AfD and in a tight race with the Greens for third. A poll last September ranked Olaf Scholz as the least popular Chancellor since reunification. And Robert Habeck. The Green Party, polling at around 13%, is a key party to watch. The Greens could play a crucial role in forming the next German government. Robert Habeck, the nation's economics minister, is the Green Party's candidate for chancellor. Now let's take a closer look at some of the key issues that drove the German electorate in this election. The state of German economy has been a major focus of the election, with Germany's once thriving economy now stagnating and in need of reform. Rising competition from China in the automotive sector and a potential trade crisis with the US add to the growing concerns. Major German automakers, including Volkswagen, face the threat of mass layoffs and plant closures. Immigration driven by concerns over attacks carried out by asylum seekers. And the Russia-Ukraine conflict has forced Germany to reduce its reliance on Russian gas, contributing to economic challenges. This snap election follows a turbulent period for Chancellor Olaf Scholz, who saw his finance minister dismissed and lost a vote of confidence. Counting of votes begins after polling ends at 1700 GMT. Mayor Makri's report for DD India.
And DD India's Shubhendu Ghosh joins us on the story now. Shubhendu, could you tell us something more about the issues dominating the German elections, especially the German economy and migration, and where the main parties stand on them?
Right, Tanvi. Well, three main issues are at the heart of these elections, historic elections in Germany, beginning with the conflict in Ukraine, the Russia-Ukraine war that has had a direct impact on European nations, more so on the growth engine of Europe, that is Germany. The energy discontinuation from Russia has had an adverse impact on German economy. It has seen its worst days in about a couple of decades. For the past couple of years, the growth has been in the negative. The cost of living has gone up significantly. In that sense, a lot is riding on a new chancellor to show the new path to Germany, and therefore economy becomes a significant issue next. And then there's also the issue of migration. Many politicians, many people think that all that is ailing in Germany has much to do with unchecked migration, not just from Ukraine, where about 1.5 million migrants had come in 3 years of Ukraine conflict that we've been talking about. Besides that, the other regions in conflict, such as Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan, millions of refugees seeking asylum have come to Germany. And for the past decade or so, Germany was seen as this prosperous European country which had its door open for those who are in need. But now the same migrants are associated with crimes that are rising in Germany. In fact, in the recent weeks, about 3 major crimes that were committed allegedly by foreign nationals. So in that sense, the political mileage of the agenda against migration is also gaining significant migration. So Ukraine, economy and migration at the heart of these elections.
Okay.
Tanvi?
A word about the two key leaders in Germany, Friedrich Merz of the centre-right Christian Democratic Union and Chancellor Olaf Scholz of the centre-left Social Democrats.
Well, we have to see that both these leaders represent parties which have dominated German politics since the Second World War. These are centrist party. Scholz party leans towards the left, whereas Merz's party, the CDU, Christian Democratic Party, leans towards the right. It's center right, but primarily they are centrist parties. Merz party is a conservative party. Merz is seen as a front runner. If we go by the opinion polls, about 30 points, 30% of the support, you can say, is likely to be gained by Merz. What is interesting is that Scholz, the incumbent chancellor, is far behind at number 3. It is the AfD, the far-right Alternative for Germany party, led by Alice Wilder, which is on number 2. Now, we have to see that far-right parties in Germany, particularly with their certain association with the difficult Nazi past, have experienced political untouchability. They've been at the margins of German politics. But now that there is a certain degree of distrust, trust deficit that people are experiencing with traditional politics, with traditional politicians, we see that these elections are also marked by the rapid rise of the far right.
And how could the election results affect the European Union and support for Ukraine in its conflict with Russia?
Oh, most directly, Tanvi, especially as far as the Ukraine war is concerned. We already know that the kind of a certain U-turn that the new U.S. administration has taken under President Trump, from being supporter of Ukraine to exploring alliance with Russia. Ukraine is really, to a great extent, banking on its support from Europe and more so from Germany. Germany has been the most vocal, prominent supporter, not just vocal, but in terms of funds and ammunition and defense supplies. Germany has been at the forefront after United States for Ukraine. And here in these elections, to a great extent, the centrist party maintain a certain support for Ukraine, continuing support for Ukraine. But the far right and far left, and this is where it gets interesting, these parties see a potential ally in Russia. They see a certain problem in Germany spending its funds, putting its investments in Ukraine. So if a certain situation comes into play where the far right, whose rise is quite meteoric in these elections, if their support and their role in the new government becomes important, the Ukraine-Russia conflict could take a whole new turn against Ukraine.
Thank you very much, Shubhendu Ghosh, reporting on this story. Also, the other big news of the hour, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on Sunday offered to give up his presidency if it means peace in Ukraine. He made these comments at a press conference at an annual forum of top government and military officials in Kiev. He also, by the way, Sunday also marked the completion of 3 years of its war in Ukraine. Pro-Ukrainian rallies, meanwhile, were held in Washington and Taipei on its 3rd anniversary. DD India's Rahul Upadhyay brings us more.
As the Russia-Ukraine conflict completes 3 years on Sunday, protesters and activists took out rallies to mark the occasion. In Washington, supporters of Ukraine gathered at the Lincoln Memorial to mark 3rd anniversary of the conflict. Many questioned former President Joe Biden's handling of the conflict in Ukraine. While in Taipei, dozens of Ukrainians and activists gathered on Sunday outside the building of Russian Representative Office. Protesters held placards reading, "Stand with us, fight for freedom," and "Ukraine is not merchandise." Amid increasing tensions between Washington and Kiev, talks for peace took a new dimension. Ukrainian President Zelensky said he's willing to give up presidency if it means peace in Ukraine.
If it's about peace in Ukraine and you really want me to leave my position, I'm ready to do that. Secondly, I can exchange it for NATO membership if there is such an opportunity. I will do it immediately without a long conversation about it. I'm focused on Ukraine's security today and not in 20 years. I don't plan to be in power for decades. Therefore, that is my aim and my dream.
Recently, Donald Trump said US aims to recover the billions of dollars in military aid provided to Ukraine. He also wants Ukraine to give the US companies access to minerals.
I'm dealing with President Zelensky. I'm dealing with President Putin. I'm trying to get the money back or secured because, Europe has given $100 billion. The United States has given $350 billion.
US President Donald Trump's stance on Ukraine also raised concerns among European allies. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer said any discussion to end the conflict must involve Ukraine.
Peace only comes through strength. Nobody wants the bloodshed to continue. Nobody, least of all the Ukrainians. But after everything that they have suffered, after everything that they have fought for, there can be no discussion about Ukraine without Ukraine, and the people of Ukraine must have a long-term secure future.
While Russian President Vladimir Putin said his soldiers in Ukraine are defending national interests and vowed unchanged determination to strengthen the country's armed forces, Putin also said Russia will continue to improve the combat capabilities of the army and navy.
We will continue to improve the combat capability of the army and Navy and their combat readiness as an essential component of Russia's security, a guarantee of its sovereign present and future, and its progressive development.
Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky said on Sunday Russia launched more than 200 drones in an overnight attack, the largest of the war, as he called for unity among Ukraine allies. Conflict in Ukraine had begun in 2022 after Russia launched attack on Ukraine on February 24th that year. Rahul Upadhyay's report for DD India.
Well, what's also coming out from that press conference is that Volodymyr Zelensky has said that he doesn't want Donald Trump as the mediator in the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Meanwhile, Russian President Vladimir Putin celebrated Defenders of the Fatherland Day, awarding servicemen with Gold Star medals and raising a toast at the Kremlin. While addressing to the servicemen, Putin said that he and his soldiers together have been entrusted with a mission as difficult as it is honorable: the defense of Russia. You're with us on DD India Newshour, still to come on the show. In his monthly radio broadcast, Prime Minister Narendra Modi suggests spending one day as a scientist to celebrate the upcoming National Science Day on 28th of February. Spain smashes a sex trafficking gang that exploited more than 1,000 women with false job offers. And Australia fines Telegram more than $600,000 over its failure to respond to child abuse and terror questions.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked, we just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Newshour. I am Tanvi Taneja. On Sunday, Prime Minister of India Narendra Modi laid the foundation stone for the Bageshwar Dham Medical and Science Research Institute for Cancer in Madhya Pradesh. The $23 million hospital will offer free treatment to underprivileged patients. With cancer care prioritized in this year's budget, the Indian government aims to establish 200 daycare cancer centers across the country.
On Sunday, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi laid the foundation stone for the Bageshwar Dham Medical and Science Research Institute for Cancer in Chhatarpur, Madhya Pradesh. The cancer hospital, valued at over $23 million, will provide free treatment to underprivileged cancer patients.
बागेश्वर धाम में कैंसर मरीजों के लिए इतना बड़ा अस्पताल खुलने जा रहा है, क्योंकि कैंसर अब हर जगह बड़ी परेशानी बन रहा है। इसलिए आज सरकार, समाज, संत सब कैंसर के खिलाफ लड़ाई में मिलकर प्रयास कर रहे हैं। इस साल जो बजट आया है उसमें भी कैंसर से लड़ने के लिए कई सारी घोषणाएं की गई है और मोदी ने तय किया है कि कैंसर की दवाओं को और सस्ता किया जाएगा। अगले 3 साल में देश के हर जिले में कैंसर डे केयर सेंटर खोले जाएंगे। डे केयर सेंटर में जांच भी होगी और आराम करने की सुविधा भी होगी।
Government has introduced robust policies, strategic interventions, and financial assistance schemes to enhance prevention, early detection of cancer, treatment, and patient care nationwide. In this year's union budget, the Indian government prioritized cancer care with a mission to establish daycare cancer centers in all district hospitals over the next 3 years, aiming for 200 centers by 2025-26. Besides, to alleviate treatment costs, 36 life saving drugs and medicines for treating cancer, rare diseases, and chronic diseases have been fully exempted from basic customs duty. Bageshwar Dham Medical and Science Research Institute would be built in an area of 10 acres and a 100-bed facility would be ready in the first phase. Earlier in the day, Prime Minister Narendra Modi offered prayers at the Bageshwar Dham Balaji temple before laying the foundation stone for the hospital. Bureau Report, DD India.
In his monthly radio broadcast on Sunday, Prime Minister Modi urged people to observe the National Science Day by spending one day as a scientist, which he said will foster curiosity among children and youth about science. The Indian Prime Minister said that the interest of youth in science matters a lot.
पिछले महीने देश इसरो के 100वें रॉकेट की लॉन्चिंग के साक्षी बने हैं। ये केवल एक नंबर नहीं है, बल्कि इससे स्पेस साइंस में नित नई ऊंचाइयों को छूने के हमारे संकल्प का भी पता चलता है। आने वाले कुछ ही दिनों में हम नेशनल साइंस डे मनाने जा रहे हैं। हमारे बच्चों का, युवाओं का साइंस में इंटरेस्ट और पैशन होना बहुत मायने रखता है। इसे लेकर मेरे पास एक आइडिया है, जिसे आप वन डे एज अ साइंटिस्ट कह सकते हैं। यानी आप अपना एक दिन एक साइंटिस्ट के रूप में, एक वैज्ञानिक के रूप में बिताकर देखें।
The Prime Minister also touched upon the topic of obesity in the program, suggesting that he will challenge 10 people to reduce oil in their food by 10%. He will also urge them to pass on the same challenge to 10 other people, he said.
फिट और हेल्दी नेशन बनने के लिए हमें ओबेसिटी की समस्या से निपटना ही होगा। एक स्टडी के मुताबिक आज हर 8 में से एक व्यक्ति ओबेसिटी की समस्या से परेशान है। अधिक वजन या मोटापा कई तरह की परेशानियों को, बीमारियों को भी जन्म देता है। हम सब मिलकर छोटे छोटे प्रयासों से इस चुनौती से निपट सकते हैं। जैसे एक तरीका मैंने सुझाया था, खाने के तेल में 10% 10% की कमी करना। आप तय कर लीजिए कि हर महीने 10% कम तेल उपयोग करेंगे।
On to West Asia now. In the light of repeated violations by Hamas, including the disgraceful ceremonies that dishonor hostages, Israel delayed the release of over 600 Palestinian prisoners, which was scheduled to be released on Saturday. Israel also deployed tanks to the northern West Bank for the first time in 2 decades. In Lebanon, thousands of people gathered on the outskirts of Beirut to pay their respects to Hezbollah's slain leader Hassan Nasrallah. We have a report.
5-week-old ceasefire agreement between Hamas and Israel was once again put into jeopardy after Israel suspended the handover of more than 600 Palestinians. Netanyahu's office released a statement in the early hours of Sunday saying that Israel was waiting to deliver the 620 Palestinian prisoners and detainees until the release of the next hostages has been assured and without the humiliating ceremonies. As many as 620 Palestinian prisoners were set to be released in exchange for the 6 Israeli hostages on Saturday. However, Hamas said that the entire agreement is in grave danger. On the other hand, US President Donald Trump said the hostages released by Hamas were not in great shape.
We had the hostages given back today. It's disgraceful what's going on there. They're not in great shape, but we've also seen them in worse shape. But the hostages, the 6 hostages, were delivered by Hamas. What a terrible situation it is.
In West Bank, Israel on Sunday announced an expansion of military expansion. Israeli Defense Minister Katz ordered military forces to dismantle militant infrastructure in the Jenin, Tulkarem and Nur al-Shams in West Bank. Defense Minister Katz said, and I quote, "I have instructed troops to prepare for a prolonged presence in the cleared camps for the coming year and to prevent the return of residents and the resurgence of terrorism." Thousands of mourners performed funeral prayers during a ceremony for slain Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah and his successor Hashem Sefardin. In the meantime, Israeli jets flew low over the Kemil Chamoun Sports City Stadium on the outskirts of the Lebanese capital Beirut. Defense Minister Israel Katz said Israeli Air Force jets flying over the funeral of Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah in Beirut was sending a clear message to anyone threatening Israel. Among those in attendance were Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi, an Iraqi delegation including Shiite politicians and militia commanders, and a delegation from Yemen's Houthis. A ceasefire agreement in late November ended hostilities between Hezbollah and Israel and set a 60-day deadline for Israeli troops to withdraw from southern Lebanon, Hezbollah to remove its fighters and arms from the area, and Lebanese troops to deploy there. Aman Kumar Himanshu's report for DD India.
US government employees received an email instructing them to document 5 things they accomplished in the past week. And Elon Musk, who is overseeing the White House Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, said that those who don't reply to the email would risk losing their jobs. DD India's Rahul Upadhyay has more.
The Trump administration sent emails on Saturday evening to US federal government employees telling them to detail their work accomplishments from the previous week by Monday night or risk losing their job. Elon Musk said, consistent with President Donald Trump, instructions, all federal employees will shortly receive an email requesting to understand what they got done last week. Failure to respond will be taken as a resignation. The email came shortly after Musk, the billionaire head of the Trump administration's Department of Government Efficiency, posted on social media site X that not responding to the email request would be viewed as a resignation. As of Saturday evening, emails were sent to employees across various federal agencies such as Securities and Exchange Commission, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, and others, with the subject line, "What did you do last week?" Rahul Upadhyay's report for DD India.
Sudan's paramilitary Rapid Support Forces RSF signed a charter with allied political and armed groups early on Sunday to establish a government of peace and unity. The move comes nearly 2 years into a devastating war with a regular army that has uprooted more than 12 million people in Sudan. According to the text of the charter, the signatories agreed that Sudan should be a secular, democratic, non-centralized state with a single national army, though it preserved the right of armed groups to continue to exist. The war between the RSF and the army, triggered by disputes over integrating the paramilitary force into the regular military, has killed tens of thousands, with both warring parties accused of war crimes. Australia's online safety regulator fined messaging platform Telegram more than $600,000 for missing a deadline to reveal how it tackles terrorist and child sexual abuse content. The encrypted messaging firm replied more than 5 months after the May 6, 2024 limit for disclosing its online safety compliance. In March last year, the watchdog asked Telegram that what they were doing to detect terrorist, violent, extremist and child sexual exploitation content. But Telegram took 160 days to provide information and obstructed the Commission's work for almost half a year. And next we take a look at what else is making news around the world. Spanish police smashed a human trafficking ring that lured more than 1,000 women to the country over the past year with false job offers before forcing them into sex work, police said on Sunday. 3 alleged ringleaders, 2 Colombian women and a Spaniard were among the 48 suspects arrested in raids in southeastern Spain, and 3 strip clubs were closed as part of the operation. Heavy snowfall persisted along the Sea of Japan coast on Sunday due to an intense cold air mass. Streets and buildings were blanketed by thick snow in the region as more snowfall is forecast through Monday. The Japan Meteorological Agency issued warnings in multiple regions, calling on people to be on alert for traffic disruptions and snow falling accidents. Traditional livelihoods and cultures of endangered communities continue to face challenges in Nepal. While the government initiatives to protect them and their cultural identity are in place, communities such as Raji have been forced to relocate to find fishing opportunities, while Art Pahadia community are facing the challenge of preserving their identity amid these modern times. With developments in artificial intelligence and other technologies, Chinese companies are creating highly evolved quadruped machines capable of performing even difficult maneuvers like backflips. Research indicates that the global market for robotic dogs reached $1.2 billion in 2023, with projections suggesting that this figure could quadruple by 2031. You're watching DD India Newshour, still to come on this show. An expert take on Germany's snap elections and its possible shift to the right. Intern doctors at several medical college hospitals in Bangladesh start a complete shutdown, asking for reforms.
Timeless, boundless, and infinite. The essence of faith, the soul of Sanatan culture. From the sacred confluence of Prayag, where divinity descends to earth. Witness the grandeur, the devotion, the magic. World's largest cultural and spiritual gathering, with over 450 million devotees expected to attend. Mahakumbh, India's greatest festival of faith. Exclusively on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Newshour. I am Tanvi Taneja. Going back to our top story we're tracking here on DD India Newshour. Germans are voting to elect a new parliament. And joining us is Ambassador Gurjeet Singh, former Indian ambassador to Germany. He joins us from Greater Noida. Now, welcome, sir, to the program. Could you tell us something more?
Thank you for having me.
Could you tell us something more about the economic problems that Germany is facing, once a shining star in Europe, and how migration has come to be a major electoral issue this time?
Thank you. Yes, Germany was the star performer of Europe in where the economy was concerned, and it was always the economic powerhouse. But its ability to perform, particularly post-COVID in the last 4 years, has been dismal, and its rate of growth has fallen to under 1% this year. So this is not looking good, because a large part of the welfare measures that Germany undertakes for its people comes from a robust economy, and that is not happening. The second thing is that the cutting of the relationship with Russia removed the cheap energy source that Germany had. As a result, their energy costs have gone up, and these impacts people and industry equally. And people are very concerned. There is a recession ongoing in Germany. The retail prices are high, unemployment is rising, and German companies are begging for relief. They are now telling the parties that please look for economic restructuring, because tinkering of policy will not lead to a solution. Therefore, Germany requires now a heavy dose of energy supplies which are more reasonably priced. for this reopening with Russia, and it needs solid markets for its exports, read China. So these are, I think, some of the reasons why the economy is not doing well, because they have tried to follow a new path and they have not really succeeded.
Okay. In the event that no party secures an absolute majority as is expected, what are the other likely political scenarios?
So, Germany has a proportional representation system. And in July last year, they tinkered with it further. So even a variation of the earlier proportional representation is being used in this Bundestag election for the first time. Instead of 733 seats in the parliament, they will now have 635 seats. Now, if the AFD, as widely expected, let us say gets 140 seats, 140 out of 733 can be more easily ignored than 140 out of 635. So I think that perspective is important to know. Secondly, a very large number of new voters have been registered, about 2 million. It is large because the total electorate has come down from 61 million to about 59 million. But there are 2 million new voters, out of which 750,000 are legalized migrants who have acquired German citizenship in the last 3 years. Out of these 750,000, almost 250,000 are Syrians. These people are going to be voting for the first time. So the young German voter and the new immigrant voter are going to play a significant role, at least in the immediate outcome. The immigrants are not expected to vote for the AFD, but the young German voter may very well vote AFD because they see that as change in what the centrist parties have been doing with them since World War II.
Okay. Far-right AFD are projected to have a strong night. How do you explain the rise of the far-right political party, the AFD, in German politics?
The most surprising thing is that the AFD rise is actually in Eastern Germany, which was the communist part of Germany. So it should have been least susceptible to such a right-wing movement. But they are the most anti-immigrant. So, they want a more autonomous economy. They are Eurosceptic and want to reintroduce the Deutschmark, leave the Euro, leave the EU if necessary, but they want an economy which is autonomous. At the same time, they want strict controls on immigration and what they call remigration, which basically means throwing out foreigners, even if they are German citizens. Rather tough stand on this. But given the state of the German economy and the security problems caused by immigrants, many common Germans actually believe that their economic and security problems stem from immigration. And the AFD is riding that crest. In the last few weeks, AFD's voting share has gone up by about 2%. So I think there need to be alarm bells on this. Of course, all the centrist parties are saying that no, we will have nothing to do with the AFD. But as I told you, if the AFD gets 140 or 150 seats out of 635, it is well nigh impossible to ignore them. And they are most likely to be the second largest party in the Bundestag. If you can't run a two-party coherent coalition and have to go for 3 or 4 parties, then I don't see why the CDU, for instance, would not work with the AFD on issues, not form a coalition, but on issues. Like recently when the AFD came along with them on an immigration bill. So I don't think it is possible to ignore the AFD if they get these large numbers anymore.
And why is this election being considered crucial for Germany and Europe? And could it affect support for Ukraine? Could it affect the support for Ukraine with its in its conflict with Russia?
So I don't think this is the foreign policy election. But yes, many analysts attribute these facts. But I think that is a bit of a misreading. It is an election about the economic and domestic future of Germany, for which they want to rewrite the social compact, particularly the young people and the legalized migrant. Now, the two mainstream parties have not been successful. So they have to take new ideas, and it is not only the AfD, but also the left party and the left offshoot, the BSW, which are coming in as new forces into the Bundestag. Now, if you extrapolate the policies of these parties, then yes, you do get skepticism on Europe from the AfD. You get the AfD is also pro-Russian and anti-Ukraine. But the centrist parties believe that Germany, having gone to support Ukraine, now cannot ditch Ukraine, even though the Americans are likely to do so. But you never know. Their decision for them may be taken between the Americans and the Russians, and Germany may not have a kind of Ukraine that they have been supporting, and therefore they may be saved. But some analysts believe that the AfD will lead to a pro-Ukraine policy. I think that is again a wrong assessment. The AfD is clearly anti-Ukraine. So therefore, if you think that the people of Germany who are voting AfD are also voting for Ukraine, that is a contradiction which is not easily understood. So I think it is better to look at the election as a domestic election, which will have ramifications on Germany's position in the European Union, and consequently on the policies towards Russia, China, and consequently also Ukraine, and of course the transatlantic alliance with the United States.
Okay. And would the outcome of the elections in Germany in any way affect its relations with India, or will they remain undisturbed?
If we are looking for more investment from Germany, I think in the immediate future, more German investment is likely to be domestic. So I think that may slow down. But otherwise, there is a functional relationship between India and Germany. Germany needs bigger markets. Germany needs a strong pole in the Indo-Pacific, and Germany needs a democratic partner like India. So on all matters, I think Germany would continue to engage India, though it may not be in the top priority of the immediate ideas that Germany needs to do. But also, I don't think we will be held to check and balance right now. So we should be able to deal with them more comfortably and watch what they are doing and then react to it.
Okay, it's just a few hours from now when results start trickling in. Thank you very much, Ambassador Gurjeet Singh Ji, for sparing your time and being with us and shedding light on the story. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar attended the third edition of the Kashi Tamil Sangamam, interacting with diplomats and delegates at the Banaras Hindu University. The minister said that Tamil Nadu has a special affinity towards Kashi. He discussed about the underlying beliefs of Indian history and culture, which keeps the country together.
Can also help technology, and that is where the Indian knowledge system can make a difference. Now, already people are discovering, say, they took yoga as a physical exercise. Today there is an understanding it is something much deeper. Now, same thing with traditional medicine. People were very, I would say, skeptical outside India. Not because of anything, I think there was no familiarity. So it is up to us also to rediscover it and propagate it.
In a separate event at the Banaras Hindu University, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar interacted with the university students at an event called Engaging the World Vishwa Bandhu. While elaborating the concept of Vishwa Bandhu, Jaishankar spoke about India's rising power at the global stage.
The whole concept of Vishwa Bandhu, it is not, it's not rocket science. The whole idea is how can a country maximize its friends and minimize its problems. It doesn't happen by itself. It just doesn't also happen only by being nice. It will happen if you are prepared to do more, if people remember you as standing up at that moment of a problem or a crisis, or if you say, okay, you know, I'm sort of trying to find a way out of a difficult situation. So Vishwa Bandhu is not a passive concept.
More news from India. Final preparations are underway in India's northeastern state of Assam, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate the biggest Jhumar dance event organized by the Assam government at Guwahati on Monday. The Jhumar Binandini 2025 event is an initiative by the Assam state government aiming to showcase the state's cultural richness and heritage of Assam's Tea tribe and Adivasi tribal communities. More than 8,000 artists from tea gardens across the state will perform the Jhumar dance. Chief Minister of Assam, Himanta Biswa Sarma, oversaw the final preparations and rehearsals for the event at the Sarusajai Stadium. He also announced a cash reward of 25,000 rupees given to each participant, including junior dancers, for their contribution to a historic cultural event celebrating 200 years of the Assam tea industry. Still to come on DD India Newshour. Germany will participate as a partner country at the Global Investor Summit in Bhopal.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
ठीक है, बहुत बढ़िया. Welcome back. You're watching DD India Newshour. I am Tanvi Taneja. So, news updates from ICC Champions Trophy. Well, India has beaten Pakistan. Virat Kohli and Shreyas Iyer helped India to chase 242-run target, and they defeated Pakistan successfully by 6 wickets in the ICC Champions Trophy in Dubai. After getting an invitation to bowl first, India put up a disciplined show to bundle out Pakistan for 241. Saud Shakil and Mohammad Rizwan stitched a crucial 104-run stand to help Pakistan recover from 47 for 2. Shakil scored 62 while Rizwan slammed 46. After the duo departed, Pakistan kept losing wickets at regular intervals and ended up at a score below 250. Kuldeep Yadav was the pick of the Indian bowlers with figures of 3 for 40. And Narayan Singh joins us on the story on the phone line with us. Narayan, did India outperform Pakistan or Pakistan underperformed versus India?
Tanvi, it's big news, and we all are hoping that India will win, and this win is on the expected line because we know that the kind of form the Indian star batsman has gained, and in the previous match too, we saw Rohit Sharma giving a good start, and Shubman Gill playing a role of the sheet anchor. Exactly today also this happened. Rohit Sharma could have given a good start to India, scoring the strike rate of over 130, and then Shubman Gill just stabilized the inning after his wicket. But everybody knows what happened after that. Virat Kohli coming under pressure, not performing in the past few matches and consecutively losing wicket to the spinners. But this time around, he showed that what class he belongs to, and truly a modern day great, and just scoring at such a big, we can say the India-Pakistan match, it's the biggest rivalry in the world, not only in the cricket, but if you talk about any sports, whether cricket, whether football, whether tennis. It is one of the best rivalries in the world, and scoring at such a big moment, it's not a small feat, it's a big achievement by the Virat Kohli, and he finished with a 4, and definitely we can say that a big win for India and a moral booster for the India, and almost India is there in the semis of the tournament, and Pakistan, definitely we can say that no chance for the Pakistani team to be there, qualify for the next month, because we know that they are out of their own party, hosting a big ICC tournament after 29 years, and within 4 days they are crashed out of the tournament. All in all, India, a big moral booster win, and next they will face New Zealand, and hoping that this momentum will continue after winning the T20 World Cup. Now it will be icing on the cake for Team India.
Okay, and what does this crucial loss of Pakistan against India mean for them in the tournament? Are they out of this tournament now?
Almost they are out. We can say that their next match is just with Bangladesh, and they can get maximum 2 points from that, and India already winning the 2 matches and New Zealand winning the 2 matches. And in the next match, if India is playing the New Zealand, if India wins that match, definitely they will be, we can say that in the group stage they will win all the matches. And when Bangladesh will face New Zealand, definitely one team is going to win. On expected line, New Zealand can beat Bangladesh side, and we know that it's very difficult for Bangladesh to beat New Zealand. The way they performed in the previous tournament, the tri-series also that happened in the Pakistan, they won that series. So almost India, we can say that Pakistan is out of the contest, because very, we can say mathematical chances are there if Pakistan also win 1 match, that is against Bangladesh, and New Zealand also could register only 1 match. But these are the hypothetical things. Okay,
Narayan, coming at India's prospects now, how do you look at India's chances for lifting ICC Champions Trophy 2025?
India, we know that they are the favourites to lift the trophy. They entered as the favourite. They are the T20 world champions. And if you take a look at the ODI World Cup that happened in 2023, they reached the final, and there also they lost only 1 match, that is against Australia. And coming to if you take a look at India in the next round, we can say that they will face the teams like Australia, if Australia progresses there, or they have already won their first match against England. So India is currently, it is one of the best team in the tournament. Talking about Australia, we say that they are a good team, but they don't have their frontline spinners. Their captain, Pat Cummins, is missing, Mitchell Starc is missing, and Hazel is missing, and also the Mitch Marsh is not there. Their all-rounder batsman, his name is Marcus Stoinis, he has been retired from the ODI format. So many problems are there for Australia also. And talking about England side, they are also out of form recently in the series against India that they played in Indian conditions. They lost 3-0 in the ODI series. So they are also not in the form. They are just assembling themselves under their coach Brendan Paculum. So the current form of the Indian team, they are best in the AFC tournament. So hoping that they will continue this form. The most important thing is that there is a unique, we can say, the mix of balance.
Yeah.
There is unique balance in the team.
Yes.
Virat Kohli is there, and the young players are there. Virat Kohli is back in the form.
Yeah,
this is the big thing.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Narayan Singh. Well, fans are ecstatic on this win versus Pakistan. For some, their ICC Champions Trophy is in. But yes, India's tournament still continues. All right, let's move on to some of the important stories in DD India Newshour. In Bangladesh, the intern doctors at several medical college hospitals started a complete shutdown on Sunday, demanding the fulfillment of their 5-point demand, including reforms in the healthcare sector. Their demands also included an increase in the maximum age limit for Bangladesh civil service medical exams to 34 years and the immediate recruitment of 10,000 medical teachers to address the doctor shortage. Meanwhile, in the Vatican City, hundreds of people gathered on St. Peter's Square at noon, where the Pope traditionally delivers his Angelus prayer every Sunday. Pope Francis expressed confidence in his treatment in a message published in place of the weekly prayer, as the 88-year-old pontiff spent a 10th day in hospital. In a written message for his usual Sunday prayer in St. Peter's Square, which the Pope was unable to give for a second consecutive week, Francis said he was continuing confidently with his treatment in hospital. And Germany will participate as a partner country at the Global Investor Summit 2025 in Bhopal. Consul General Achim Fibeg, along with representatives of the Indo-German Chamber of Commerce and German-Indian Innovation Corridor, will participate in the summit.
Germany is participating as a partner country in the Global Investor Summit, which is going to be inaugurated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Bhopal on 24th and 25th February. German pavilion will be set up at the Global Investor Summit. It will showcase opportunities for India-German cooperation under the aegis of Indo-German Chamber of Commerce. In this, an MOU will be signed between Madhya Pradesh government and Indo-German Chamber of Commerce and GIIC-CI. This agreement will be to promote sustainable and long-term investment in Madhya Pradesh, in which German companies will participate in development works in various sectors.
Especially in Germany, we are on a skill shortage for the manpower here, so it makes sense to do some kind of investment in India than instead of Germany.
It is great to know that a lot of German companies have shown tremendous interest in investing in Madhya Pradesh, knowing that it has excellent location as well as excellent potential of expanding business with investment policies of Madhya Pradesh.
Many German companies are already working in the field of chemical, pharma and hardware engineering in Madhya Pradesh. Now German companies are also willing to invest in areas of information technology, global skill development, center of excellence, dairy farming, food processing, science and technology, deep technology and renewable energy.
जर्मनी की उन्नति में बड़ा कारण है उनके जो कार उत्पादन जो उनकी बड़ी-बड़ी कंपनियां उनके इंजन पे वो बहुत आगे बढ़ रहे थे, लेकिन अब जैसे इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल आए तो इंजन ही गायब हो गए। अब ये उनको चुनौती है, अब उनको नया मार्ग ढूंढना पड़ेगा। लेकिन हमारे पास ये भी है कि आज के दौर में जब ईवी हमको मिल रहे हैं तो हमारे जो संसाधन के बलबूते पर हम उनको अपना भागीदार बना करके हमारा मार्ग हम बनाएं।
Socio-economic projects of green energy, education, women empowerment and skill development will also be showcased through the German pavilion at the Global Investor Summit. These projects are funded by prominent German organizations, GIZ, and are being implemented in collaboration with various government organizations of the state of Madhya Pradesh.
The business relationship between India and Germany is very old. So many German companies already worked in Madhya Pradesh, but now government of Madhya Pradesh is focusing on the new investors of Germany. With camera person Gaurav Aditya Srivastava, DD India, Bhopal.
And before we go, let's take you to the eastern Indian state of Odisha, where a new record has been set for the mass nesting of olive ridley turtles at the sandy shores of Rushikulya river mouth in Odisha. A staggering 698,718 turtles have laid eggs, marking an all-time high, surpassing all previous records. Typically, mass nesting begins in the last week of February, but this year the turtles started arriving as early as the second week of February. So that's it in this edition of DD India Newshour. Do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. Connect with us on our different social media handles at DD India Live. And for those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and the world on our DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. We'll be back with more news as it breaks around DD India. I'm Tanvi Taneja from all of us here in New Delhi. Thank you for watching. Namaskar.